Thursday, Mark Briscoe the match was supposed to be Tony Nese versus JD Drake. And then Mark Briscoe was like, I was talking to my main man, Tony Khan. No, because they had been going back and forth, like talking on the mic. And he was like, nobody wants to hear you guys, so I'm going to fight you both. And so it turns into a triple threat. Mark wins. Mark goes to the back, and this package plays, and it's Eddie Kingston, and he like talks directly to Mark. He calls him by a very personal nickname. He calls him Chicken, and he was like, I'm talking to you. And hang on, I've got it here. He said, I need you. These people need you. We need you to win the Ring of Honor championship. We need you to have that Briscoe legacy to live on. I love you, Chicken. It's your time. It is your time. So they cut back to Mark Briscoe, and he basically was like, because they had Renee was there, and so I was like, you can tell this is from an ROH taping with Renee there because she's never on ROH. And so he made. So one of the things that was interesting is because Mark Briscoe in his time with ROH has always talked about how he wants the TV title. Like that was the first thing when ROH restarted this year, that was like his thing. And so he addressed that, and he said, all my career in singles actions, all I've ever talked about was wanting to win the Ring of Honor television title. But now it's my time, damn it, to reach for the sky and follow in my brother's footsteps and become the Ring of Honor world champion. So Claudio walks up and of course is being condescending and tells him to never listen to anything Eddie Kingston says. Don't take advice from him. Then he's like just talking about how he's not, that he's always been by his brother's side, and would his brother really want him to walk behind him and follow in his footsteps. And he told him that he said that time has made you weak, which shows me that you are not man enough. You haven't manned up. And he said, that's right. I said it. And he said, if I have to pull down to earth for you trying to reach from the sky, I will more than gladly do that, because I want to, Mark, because I do like you, but because I have to. My duty is to show you your limits, because he's talking about how he showed Eddie his limits. He said, if you really want this match, then shake my hand. So Mark, of course, shook his hand, and Claudio tells him, he was like, don't get your hopes up because you're not ready. And then he walks away.
My.
Yeah, it was really intense. Claudio is a very intense person. So
Claudio is an intense person.
He is an intense dude, but when it comes to his title, like he is like a totally different type of intense. And he was like, so right afterwards, they did make the match official, and they announced it was going to be the main event. I'm a little irritated with that. I know the match is going to be great. I feel like that's Athena's spot. I feel like Athena has been booked to have this spot. She's been on this undefeated streak. She's main evented ROH TV 4 times. She's had all of these things. She has been the focus. She has been the main focus for weeks. Claudio has not been on TV, or he's not been on the shows. Lucha Brothers haven't been there, which I sometimes forget that they even have the ROH Tag Team Champions, because they're like championships, because they're never there. Samoa Joe is not featured very often, because they're all on AEW TV, which is another interesting thing, that Athena, outside of last night, she's not on AEW programming. They keep her specifically on ROH, which goes back to the loophole thing that we talked about last week, how they're ROH sanctioned matches and things like that. So
not Owen tournament match that wasn't, but was.
So it ended up, her match with Billy Starks was not an ROH sanctioned match, so it didn't count towards her.
I keep hearing a lot of people that I listen to that are either on the other people on our network or on other networks that I try and listen to, who are like, they're singing Athena's praises like so big. They're like, she's the best woman wrestler right now. She's like the biggest thing. And I'm like, and I remember, like, if people remember back to her NXT days, she was amazing. Like, we loved Ember Moon. Yeah, like, we were so excited. We got to actually see her. I mean, she only came out and did her entrance and everything, and we got pictures, but at least she was at the SmackDown we were at. And we were like, it was her and Asuka. It was like, those were the two, like, it's like, oh my gosh. So, like, she knows what she's doing.
Right.
She's excellent at what she's doing. Right. But I keep hearing her name on places where you wouldn't necessarily normally say it. And it's like, she might be one of the best wrestlers, period, is what I keep hearing. She is. Like, one of the best wrestlers right now.
Yeah.
Just in general.
Yeah, she is. She's on a different level. And so they hinted last night about Willow coming for, at once the Owen Cup is done, she hinted at facing her for the title again, which I believe they did wrestle down in ROH. I think it was a title match, not a proving ground match. So I think it was a title match, and I wouldn't mind seeing, like, if they wanted to put the title on Willow, I would not be mad at that. But I feel like they can't let Willow's momentum die down, even though she's no longer the strong champion. Like, I think they have to keep
If
her in the.
Athena's the store, if
Yeah.
Athena's the star in ROH, Willow
Yes.
needs to stay on AEW television,
Right.
whether
And
she's on
yeah,
Dynamite
and
or Collision or whatever.
if they're gonna do the theory we discussed last week where they're bringing in Jordynne Grace, and Jordynne Grace is potentially the one to dethrone her, then I still would keep Athena down in ROH. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing her go back and forth between Collision, because if they're gonna let Claudio and the Lucha Brothers and Joe be back and forth, then Athena absolutely needs to be there, keeping her there. And Brad even said, I think that was he said, I wonder if Athena wins, if Tony moves her to Dynamite or Collision, or if he leaves her on ROH to continue to have great matches just without the title. That's kind of what I'm wondering, Brad, because they need to build that women's division. They're building it around her right now. And so they do need a couple more really strong, because Sky Blue is back and forth between, she wrestled Athena for the title. So they've got Kiera, and Kiera, it's been really great. And sounds like Diamante got signed to a full-time contract earlier in the week. I don't know if that's AEW or ROH, or if she's kind of going to do both too. Because Diamante has been on ROH television as well. So they do need to, and then of course they're using Athena, not Athena, Trisha Dora has been featured there, and Layla Hirsch returned Thursday night. And she said after her match, she said that she was there to stay in ROH, which is really good, because they need somebody like her in that division.